What's Kieran been up to this week? What's been happening in terms of weird stuff that he's been engaging with on the internet? It's usually a good place to start.
I've just been seeing Dan Crenshaw getting bullied by veterans, and that was cool.
That is pretty cool. Oh yeah, okay. The fun thing that's been happening for Kieran this week is just the complete fucking collapse of WeWork.
Oh yeah. I also saw that the guy who runs WeWork wants to become in the next elections in Israel wants to become the prime minister of Israel.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
I love WeWork. They're a horrifying company, but also like the easiest way to get paid for doing comedy in Berlin, because they have like horrible like lunchtime stand-up comedy gigs that they'll get in.
They do?
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's such a startup thing to do.
It is. So stand-up comedy really only works if like the audience is willingly there. Like they actively said to themselves, you know what I feel like tonight is some stand-up comedy.
No. But in this, in startup Stalinism, you are allocated the time is already allocated to you that you have to show up, and if you don't, you have to applaud whenever the the comedian who is your Stalin for 1 hour. Says anything that then remotely could be a joke. You're forced to clap and applaud and stand up.
Actually, kind of like how it worked.
Yeah, well,
you have to applaud it. Like
I'd actually really enjoy like if someone has some like really, heavy, overly intellectual, wanky book about like stand up in the 80s in the Soviet Union. I would read the shit out of that. Like,
it's just gonna be horrible Ronald Reagan jokes where he's like, "Oh, I heard all these jokes in the Soviet Union," and you've never seen those videos? They're really bad.
This is something Rob got mad at me about as well, of like my lack of knowledge of like terrible Ronald Reagan jokes Ronald Reagan made, and just been like, Kieran, I thought you were a stand-up. Like, what?
Yeah, but there'd be like, Ronald Reagan did the kind of thing where
he did stand-up comedy.
No, he didn't do stand-up comedy, but it was always the thing, like Amy Klobuchar recently. There's that video that then of her just repeating her tweet fight with Donald Trump over and over and over again, of like, he called me a snowflake, and guess what I said back to him? And it was just
you're a snowflake too.
It was something really fucking stupid. And actually, what's it called? What's that really shitty show in the U.S. like The Daily Show? Yeah, the one with Trevor Noah, right?
Yeah,
they actually had the one good thing that they have done in the past 4 years is that they cut up all of the times of her doing this on the campaign trail, and they all line up perfectly.
That's funny.
It was
it's
actually,
got her timing down. That's important.
Yeah. Ronald Reagan was kind of doing that in the 80s before Twitter existed. He would just go fucking buck wild and be like, I know all these just fucking knee slappers that are just boomer jokes.
So he was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan,
I knew it.
when he's not, harassing.
He's not tearing down the wall.
Yeah, or when he's not, behind the scenes, like, harassing minorities with his homeboy, Richard Nixon, in that whole tape that came out.
Yep.
Which also, for a comedian,
that
he
is
could
the
have been
thing
on
in stand-up.
SNL.
That is a thing in stand-up comedy, isn't it?
What, harassing women and minorities?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you think you get
a problem?
Yeah, how do you think you get a Netflix special?
Exactly.
Oh god.
Kieran, become more racist.
I heard it described perfectly, which is basically every stand-up scene in the world is controlled by 3 fat white guys. Just like God, yeah, it's. But going back to WeWork, this is Kieran burning all his bridges in terms of like burning stand-up comedy. Not really. It's just burning one very specific bridge that leads to money.
Who needs that?
Who needs that? Well, in fairness.
Well, hey, Kieran, no, you can still save yourself if you do the German thing of just being, a comedian that then talks about points that are like 20 years old in English comedy, being like, men and women, what's the difference
exactly,
with
just
them?
talk about your wife and like make fun of her like Mario Barth. You can fucking fill arenas.
He sold out the fucking Olympiastadion 2 days in a row. Like like the last one to do that was Rammstein.
Yeah, like, Germans have no humor.
Have you noticed that Turingans walk like this, but Bavarians walk like
Wow, das ist so lustig.
Oh, god damn it. But
Achim, did you hear that?
Ja, Anita.
Hast du das gehört, Achim?
back to me burning
Okay,
the
so-
money bridge.
Very relatable.
So the money bridge, it mightn't last for long because WeWork basically, they started trading publicly and like overnight their initial value offering was like halved because WeWork doesn't really do anything.
But they don't work.
Oh, satire. We did that.
Yeah, I know.
We get tax back for doing satire. Yeah, because like the thing is, they tried to like pitch themselves as this revolutionary new company, and like no, they're like the exact same as like every other property management company in the world. It was like relatively secure, but you're not like exploring new spaces unforetold in the world of business. Yeah, so their initial value offering.
WeWork, the final frontier.
What if you rented the place you work? I was like, gentrification. This is Picard's voice. Yeah, so like they lost all their money, and because of this, they've like fired. Let's see, they fired a bunch of their staff. But they've done this before when they like not had as much money as they thought they did. And I want to read you a little bit of an excerpt from like a Financial Times article because they were free this week.
They were, yes. I
Yeah.
tried to hurt my brain with it, but a lot of the takes were not that good. Like they weren't as bad as The Economist, and I just got kind of bored reading about like negative interest rates.
Yeah. The Financial Times unfortunately tells you the truth, but it tells you like the bad thing is actually good.
That is ultimately the big problem.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I want to read from this a little bit. A few weeks after Mr. Newman fired 7% of his staff in 2016, Mr. Newman being the CEO of WeWork, he somberly addressed the issue at an evening all-hands meeting at the headquarters, telling attendees the move was tough but necessary to cut costs and the company would be better because of it. Then employees carrying trays of plastic... Then employees carrying trays of plastic shot glasses filled with tequila came into the room, followed by toasts and drinks. Soon after, Daryl McDaniels of hip-hop group Run DMC entered the room, embraced Mr. Newman, and played a set for the staff. Workers danced the 1980s hit It's Tricky as the tequila trays made more rounds. Some others still focused on the firing, saying that they were stunned and confused. This surrealist...
Wait. So they fired everyone to one of the dudes from Run DMC singing It's Tricky.
Yeah, pretty much. There's
What kind of fucking hellscape is this?
That sounds like a fan fiction, like one of the fan fictions.
So my neoliberal fan fiction is like being able to do this.
So that is interesting you say that because
Yeah.
like about a year ago, Clickhole, the like Onion spin-off that focuses more on like viral content or taking the piss of viral content, had like a story about like so inspirational. 10% of BuzzFeed staff were let off, and while they were packing up their offices, Post Malone was singing. And it's like, oh man.
Seriously.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So WeWork is just an insane company, and all they seem to do is just like, it's office space, but there's like slices of cucumbers available.
I've been to one.
Yes.
Actually, I've seen it from the inside.
Julia was doing some
Working.
chew gum reporting.
No, actually, a friend of mine works at WeWork, but works there, like, not work.
They work for WeWork.
No, not for WeWork.
they work at a WeWork.
Yeah, exactly. They have beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of startups do that,
I like
so you stay
beer.
there indefinitely.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh god, yeah. It's pretty dire. I've also been deep diving into Chinese expat humor YouTube, which again, this is Kieran's new very specific wing of YouTube. Last week it was Indian grandfathers spending their retirement making massive portions of food for street orphans. And this week, this is not one channel, it's a genre. It's like
This isn't the one where it's the guy who has his wife, who then like every other video is like, I hate my wife.
No, that was the week before Indian Grandfathers.
Of course, yeah.
I can talk about him in a bit
Please don't.
he's so good.
Kieran, we're on a tight schedule.
Are we?
Yes.
All right, but okay. So the thing that's happening this week is, Chinese expat YouTube, which is just like mainly non-Chinese people who've moved to China, and then they like start YouTube channels. And there's like one really big one called Mama Hoo Hoo, which I believe is a.
Wait, that doesn't sound right.
No, it's a Chinese word that like Chinese people do not say. It's like one of those things you're taught when you're learning Chinese that like in the same way that like people when they're taught English are like, I'm fine, thank you, and you kind of thing.
Hey, what's up?
But yeah, there are a bunch of like mostly Scottish and Australian people who do like YouTube content, and it is like
Australians.
some terrible skits and then like just insights into just terrible Chinese things. Like they all have to work in a WeWork, basically. A WeWork that you can only get into if you have your phone on you, because China just never did credit cards. They only have that like QR code pay thing, so you have to pay as you enter the WeWork for your time in the WeWork. Shanghai also.
So you're saying socialism then, right?
Yes, this is socialism. Whatever China does just becomes socialism.
Yeah. Waiting for the tanky break, the U.S. tanky breakdown of how WeWorks in China are actually revolutionary.
Yes, and also
I already had that one about special economic zones that I just like.
What?
My brain rotted reading.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically the slogan for communism, like we work.
Done. Yeah, done. Julia's gonna be the one making this thread
Exactly.
later about how we have to defend China's attempts at WeWork.
Yulia will not be here next week as she drafts up plans to retake Taiwan.
Does that also include Macau?
I don't know what's going on. Macau seems like cocked Hong Kong. What's happening in Macau? I think the only thing I know about Macau...
Gambling.
Yeah. No, the only thing I know about Macau is just like really nerdy Kieran getting way too into urban planning shit, which is every Portuguese colony has, and Portugal itself, has this very specific pavement pattern. Where there's like waves in the tiles of the pavement.
Okay.
And that's basically the symbol to say Portugal was here.
Oh, shit.
So it's like in Angola, it's in East Timor and Macau. And that is the only thing I know about Macau. Thank you.
Hey, welcome to your weekly corner Späti. Rob left again. He disappeared. He went to Georgia. Apparently he's finding out that Stalin is actually cool.
The country of Georgia, not the state.
Yeah, not the state. So Rob's having some real tanky hours over there. But the rest of the gang is here. So it's myself, Nick.
And it's me, Julia.
And it's your boy Kieran, not trying to understand China, but failing to do so. Is having the world's largest Starbucks socialism? I'm confused.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
It is.
It's 3 stories tall, and it looks like you can get really terrible pizza for too much money.
Wait, what?
They sell
Yeah,
pizza.
they sell
That is socialism.
Making Starbucks sell pizza is socialism. No, but it's like that really terrible, like, we cut like a baguette in half and put like cheese in. Yeah.
Ew.
Pizza baguette.
Yeah, like the kind of pizza you
Of course Germans know what it is, that they may have invented the stupid fucking thing.
Probably.
It is like the thing they call pizza at like a bakery that you find in an U-Bahn station.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pizza baguette.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with that.
That is socialism. How dare you? Revisionist bastards.
But this week we're not talking about China because I will not be touching that topic with a 40-foot pole. I refuse to.
Get me drunk.
Yeah. I'll get me drunk and I'll just talk about how great Xi Jinping is. No, I'm just kidding. But today, because we're recording on Friday, today's global climate global's a little bit too much of a
Oh,
euphemism, I
yeah.
think.
It's 160 countries.
Yeah, like 5,000 cities or whatever, I think, or something like that,
Yeah.
are, they're doing the climate strike. They're saying, climate, get out of here. We don't want to be a part of this anymore.
We're striking
We're
on
striking
climate.
against you.
We said this last week. Secure yourself a tank. Start shooting the clouds.
Exactly, yes. If you and your friends may be able to pull enough money together to go to like Bulgaria and buy an old T-71, and that is socialism.
Buying tanks
But yeah, so
from a Starbucks.
When they said pizza, they said tanks.
That's the second floor.
just an armory.
Yeah.
But we thought that it would be climate change in the news a lot. The answers to climate change are kind of all over the place. So we thought we'd wonk out with you for a bit and talk about maybe what does the answer of climate change look like from not only just like an anti-capitalist perspective, which I think we have covered in the past briefly, but kind of more general on like a leftist socialist perspective of what these movements, like why these movements are important, who these movements kind of don't include and why they should include other people, and what are definitely not the answers. At least, we're not the be all end all of this argument, obviously, but what we kind of just, talking amongst ourselves and running into this topic continuously, have kind of more or less pieced together of what we think is good, bad, and the ugly of climate protest.
Yeah.
So take it away, Kieran, Yulia. I don't know. I have my piece that I want to talk about.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I guess I'm in charge because we are recording from my apartment.
and you have we are in your what is it?
The dog anime palace.
Anime palace.
Yeah.
I actually Googled the Google translated the thing that you wrote in Japanese, and it did come up actually as dog
anime palace. Don't ever question my Japanese abilities again. I don't have any Japanese ability. Okay, the Global Climate Strike website is making sounds at me.
Kieran, why aren't you striking? Why aren't you striking, Kieran?
You shouldn't be on this website right now. Go get off your ass. As Yulia kind of alluded to, it's not super global. It has more reach than I was expecting. There's someone
Look at Russia.
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
They're all going to end up in a prison at the end of the day.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of what isn't being highlighted in Russia is just not places where people live. There could be more. Like there doesn't seem to be anything in St. Petersburg. That's weird.
That is weird.
There's like Moscow and Tanatuva. What the fuck is this?
Real geography hours over here.
Yeah, but we got fucking Mongolia going off. China is definitely the big missing, and Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. They've got other things going on. I think. Yeah. So the global climate strike is an interesting one. There is some things about it that I'm like a little disappointed about, like at how much it's not reaching out. But it's basically one big, large, coordinated protest that starts this week, but is actually going on until the 27th, according to this.
Yeah.
By the looks of this,
It means I don't have to work.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, okay, yeah, that kind of gets my first thing. It's not really a general strike.
Yeah.
Which
which
is, as far as I'm concerned, is like the only strike that ever seems to ever do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you get like off by your work, it doesn't actually disrupt that much.
Yeah. When you're encouraged by your job, like
don't
take
come
the
to
day
work,
off and go to the protest.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's already been like astroturfed at that point,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that could work if like a lot of other businesses were doing like union action. If like the ones that weren't were like take the day off.
Yeah.
But that's also not happening. So, and then like the other thing about like general strikes is you can't really do them in a short period of time because the other part of general strikes is like not paying your bills or rent.
And I think like the German word for this actually describes this better than like English does because it always like we discussed this on the 1st of May episode that is like what was it in German? Arbeitskampf.
Arbeitskampf,
So it's seen as
so
like
Generalstreik, but Arbeitskampf. So it's actually like you fight something, you know?
Yeah, you're
like,
fighting that fucking capitalism.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
And
shooting the clouds.
shooting the clouds
Shooting the
with your tank that you bought at Chinese Starbucks.
It's always smart to shoot in the air.
What
Look
goes
what's
up
coming.
never has to come
Yeah,
down.
never has to come.
I bought this tank on the second floor of Chinese Starbucks, but then I was like, how the fuck do I get it out of here? We're on the second floor. Why wouldn't you put this on the ground floor? Like, have one of those like car dealership things where it opens up
Kieran just busts through the second floor.
immediately.
With the tank.
I bought a tank, but still in Shanghai. Don't talk to me about it. I'm very upset.
But I do genuinely think that then, like, looking at it from like the German linguistic perspective of then how like it is seen then as a like, you know, a fight for I mean, generally speaking, it has to be then a fight then for workers and workers' rights, and they are intertwined, obviously, with capital, with climate change and capitalism, being that then workers are not the ones, you know, exploiting the earth for its, you know, natural resources. And the I mean, this is the same thing too with the weapons industry, especially in Germany, is that there is a good portion of the left that understands that in order for, let's say, Germany not to export tanks, you just get the workers not to make them. You know, and this has historically worked in the past. You have this being that, you know, arsenals or whatever, not what are they called, armor, people in like the arms industry or whatever it is industry that then is like protesting, just completely halting the production of certain things. Brazil, this happened where they just like blocked off a road completely, you know? So you make it that then like these points of entrance for capital are impossible to happen. And that's like, to be fair, like that's the extreme scenarios, but those are the only ones that then you see having like an instant historical impact. Otherwise it is, like this long progression of trying to implement change and stuff, which is very easy to have then a movement, at least then in my opinion, that becomes this kind of like feel-good activism that then on the 27th, when you're done with this, you're going to go back to your ways. Or you can then just pretend to yourself that your own individual consumption isn't going to magically then change capitalism, which a lot of people in the first world think. That's why, like, I don't know, Germany has like a lot of like weird vegan culture thing that then tells you that and whatnot.
There's a very good Lauren Balhorn quote. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Oh, Lauren from Die Linke.
Yeah, he has a very good quote about that I think he's talking about the German Greens, but I think it
is this his Jacobin piece?
I think so. Yeah. He's talking about the German Greens, but I think I think it encaptures what you're talking about as well. And this is not limited to Germany only, but like the Greens are now a party of anyone in Germany who wants to keep things more or less the way they have been for the past 3 years, but with more electric cars. Yeah. So there's like it kind of comes down to people having absolutely no analysis of like supply side economics. I have seen people online talking about like, oh, I have a Tesla now, and then it quickly devolves into the thing that gets particularly aggressive is it particularly devolves into people kind of like one-upping each other about who has the newest Tesla. I'm like, cool. You shouldn't really be buying cars that regularly.
And Teslas are still really bad for the environment.
Well, that's it, exactly. Well, like this is the thing that like I think I might be wrong about this, but the thing I've seen most people are like, Teslas are as fine as electric cars are ever going to get. But the thing is, you can't just like keep getting the newest one. You have to get one, keep it for fucking as long as possible.
And this is also like a topic. I mean, it includes it excludes a lot of people. Like, not everyone can fucking buy it.
For sure,
Julia, you want to just go magically just dish out $40,000 for a brand new car?
I want a Tesla, please.
Yeah, that's why
it doesn't critique anything of like the production side or like any. It doesn't have a capitalist, anti-capitalist critique in it. It just says like, oh, we're gonna fucking like keep capitalism, but we're gonna make it green.
Yeah, which
and it's only for rich people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, you're still going to then maintain your extremely wasteful, consumption habits of, like you said, what happens to the Tesla after you throw it away, pretty much.
It's kind of like the take of like, oh, you shouldn't take planes anymore, because when I went to Indonesia with my fucking plane and I saw this fisherman and I saw the way he lived, like, I want to live like that. Okay, yeah, but you going to Indonesia is actually why you have this take.
And you becoming a primitivist is also fucking stupid.
Yeah, and it's like the Indonesian fisherman, he doesn't think about like, oh, I shouldn't take a plane anymore, because he's not fucking thinking about the future, he's fucking thinking about
I'm really hoping
today.
I'm really hoping that all these shit libs become like anarcho-criminalists and die of scurvy.
That would be so sick, because a lot of them already are doing that. A lot of like the startup culture already does that. They're like, we're gonna drink like whatever it is, that raw water shit that's just filled with microbes and bacteria that'll just give you fucking diarrhea until you like just shit your lower intestine out.
Before we move too far away from it, I just want to say that like all the air travel happening at the moment is 2% of global
emissions.
Exactly.
Global
Yeah,
emissions.
I have the same.
That's the thing.
I have the same
Yeah,
numbers.
that's the thing that then always
Yeah.
like I genuinely like given. All right, yeah, like any form of transportation that you use should be. I don't want to say lessened, because people have to go places, this and that. But what percentage then of those are just really short, dumb trips that are like for business things and whatnot?
So I think the slightly more correct left take for like in the moment right now is like, think about our attitude towards, or the general left attitude towards buses versus cars. It's the exact same.
Buses are fucking sick.
Yes, it's the exact same technology, but we all like buses because it's using much less like carbon emissions.
You can
per
also make
person.
buses electric very easily.
You can also do that. You can't do that with planes, unfortunately. But planes, even though because they've been highly commercialized, we don't think of them this way. They are public transport, and the real thing.
Are you saying that we should renationalize airlines?
Yeah.
There's a previously in Europe bonus episode coming out soon, which is basically just me saying this. But before we get too much onto that, because just go listen to that. People. The real villain here are the people who take private jets.
Yeah,
or
of
like,
course.
Yeah. Because most Airbuses or whatever, because they're called Airbuses, first and foremost.
It's a bus.
It's a bus in the sky. It's fucking brilliant.
Wow.
They fit like, 90 plus people on it?
The private jets?
Not private jets, no, like actual
normal, like-
normal commercial airlines.
The small Airbuses or the big ones?
I don't know.
The
Would you
small
know
I don't know about
the
planes
small
so
ones
much.
fit like 170 people. The large
even
ones
more.
fit up to
That's
the
even
large
more.
ones fit up to like 450.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the real big ones, like the Dreamliners and stuff like that, I think are like up to 600.
Yeah.
They are like the thing like
Someone knows about planes.
I love planes. Planes are so fucking cool. I wish I
I
knew
thought
more
you
about
liked trains.
I like trains too.
Oh, planes, the trains of
Trains,
the sky.
all right. Trains are because every socialist has to love trains, and trains are so cool. And when I was,
Take away my credentials.
yeah, and planes are just incredibly interesting because, like, how the fuck does a massive piece of aluminum get into the sky and stay there without dying? Boats are also cool, but I hate water. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's maybe the other side of this. I think we're probably getting too much into like prescriptive nonsense now, but like a lot of like air travel stuff could be solved by having. Basically, it should come down to the point that we really should be only taking planes when we have to cross the sea.
Yeah.
But we can't expect people to just like, we can't shout at like someone being like, you should only take a plane when you have to cross the sea, rather than like, we should be shouting at the governments to make a decent train system that is very affordable, if not free. It should be free.
just staring at Deutsche Bahn in
Yeah.
the corner of the room.
Just throwing things at them. It's like, I would be throwing my tank at them if I wasn't stuck in Shanghai.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that then is so. Well, first off, yes, take your tank and just start shooting down private jets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
That is the first goal.
actually, like, there's this funny thing, the German Air Force One.
Oh.
I don't know, what is it? What is
I would
the
say
name of that?
Luftwaffe
Flugforce 1.
Flugkraft.
Flugkraft 1. I was going to say, yeah, Luftwaffe 1 sounds just like a thing from a World War II movie.
Yeah. So it's
Not
still-
my fault that the fucking German military still calls their Air Force the Luftwaffe.
Since the Luftwaffe and all of their friends are still in Bonn, every time you want to pick up the chancellor, like Angela Merkel and her friends, you have to go to Berlin
Her
first.
squad.
to kind of like get her on the plane. And this is actually like something that was critiqued in, I don't know if it was like a talk show, because Germans like talk shows at night, like mentioned by Mashbe or whatever. But yeah,
Habt ihr das gesehen? Das ist so lustig.
it's not supposed to be funny. It's political talk.
Okay. Habt ihr das gesehen? War das rassistisch? Das wissen wir noch nicht.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Unironically,
So,
yes.
yeah, that this is kind of like, and then someone, I don't know, some politician kind of defended it, saying like, yeah, but we still love the old republic. The old republic. That sounds like a Star Wars thing. Bonn is the old republic, and Berlin is like what we have now, the empire.
I don't know, but the amount of money that Germany wastes of having two capital cities, one that is like just the biggest eyesore in West Germany.
Bonn,
Bonn, yeah. Oh my God.
It's just cool because it's next to Köln.
Literally, like, and they specifically picked that city so that then they would be able to just uproot it immediately and put everything back in Berlin
Exactly.
because
But
they're
they
like,
forgot some ministers.
they have some ministries that then are just two ministries split between like the offices in Bonn and here.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, and so they have to fly. Like again, that like don't even like. I guess we can like start there and then also talk about the other thing too that's really bad. One, the like just the governmental expenditures of just dumb, transporting. A lot of times empty planes, like you were saying, that then have to go pick up a politician in one place or another. Completely wasteful. And the amount of money that is just thrown at preserving the city that no one should care about is incredibly stupid. People in Bonn don't even care about Bonn. They all like, I don't know anyone who like
You
is
have a
proud
strong
of.
opinion on Bonn.
Yeah, dude, because it fucking sucks. I've been there once. It was boring, and there's literally nothing there. But second, too, with like a governmental sort of thing, I think a lot of people also people fairly acknowledge that the biggest polluter in the world is just like NATO and the U.S. military. So also like, being having policies of demilitarization and stuff like that between obviously that's a big no to say to libs who think that then China's like knocking on the West's door, that Russia's gonna
Russia's already in the Baltics, sending people over slowly but surely, making them buy places at Jomala.
Yeah, but like Russia's already like smarter in this.
Citizen army.
Yeah, Russia's already Russia has invaded Ukraine and Georgia multiple times, but Russia's main game right
They're just
now
kind
is
of pushing the borders a little.
yeah, whatever. Like that's
Salami tactics.
Yeah.
we've talked about this.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I
Yeah.
mean, there was an article that I read that the U.S. military wants a new fighter jet every 5 years. Them to develop a new state-of-the-art fighter jet for no fucking reason, because you don't even fucking use fighter jets anymore. Everything's done by drones or your tank that you bought.
They should do it like Russia and develop a super amphibious tank, whatever that shit is.
Oh, the T-105.
I
yes.
saw an
Also,
ad for it. Very impressive.
other mode of transportation that I'm really fond of are tanks.
I just don't understand why the U.S. military doesn't go into invest in the technologies of their enemies that are totally real, like Osama bin Laden's mountain fortress and the microwave rays that were killing people through the walls in Cuba that we all just kind of forgot about.
Wait,
Yeah, there was that thing that there was the CIA said that there were these like signals going through Cuba that were rendering CIA agents sick, and that they had to leave the country and stuff like that. It was absolute bullshit.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, every single thing that then has gotten the United States involved in anything militarily of the last 100 years has been an absolutely made-up thing, aside from Pearl Harbor.
Also, it SARS, didn't it? It was like
Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole thing that then's so funny with the Saudi Arabia, oil thing, is that then, oh, look, the Houthis or Iran or someone blew this thing up, and I like how then none of these are sticking, because I think after a week everyone kind of forgot about it. And Saudi Arabia literally just said oh, this is our 9/11. Yeah, and they're like, you already had your 9/11. It was 9/11.
yeah. So okay, we're basically talking about what is the good way of talking about climate and how to
There's a lot to bite off.
Yeah,
I guess we were trying to.
It's a huge topic. There's a lot of I think we cover the air travel thing, which is serves as a distraction mostly. I think my good rule of thumb is if it has an individualist prescription for how to fix the problem, it's
probably bullshit.
Probably bullshit.
Wait, one more thing about the private jets.
Oh yeah.
Did anyone see the video of Kanye West giving DJ Khaled the shoes off of his feet? and then they both just like hop into their private jets.
Nope.
Yeah, it was like it was really dire. Like one in the sense that then Kanye West and DJ Khaled are friends, like just two complete hucksters, and that they like. Yeah, that they went to this really dumb event, which is like Kanye's Sunday preaching session things that he's doing now. He's like doing mass now. He's like getting preachers and shit and whatnot to them.
Is he doing the episode of the Killer Mike show where he makes his own religion?
No, but the religion already exists. It's called Christianity.
Oh, okay.
And like Kanye West is becoming super Christian
Boring.
now. But yeah, so the thing that was like someone like retweeted this and was like, can you fucking believe that these like the thing that we're not getting mad about is just these two assholes getting on their getting on two separate private planes.
They could go together.
Yeah,
in
they
one
could
private
like
plane.
not take a private plane.
on a Greyhound bus.
No, there's literally that scene from Silicon Valley where the two like angel investors run into each other on like the private airfields, and they're both about to get on their private jets, being like, "Oh, it's you. Oh, yeah." I was like, "Oh," and they have like this really like lovely conversation that they're like, the whole thing you're meant to be getting is, oh, they're like starting to like each other as people, and they're like, "Oh, we should hang out sometime when we get back. Or are you flying to? I'm flying to San Francisco. Oh, me too. Yeah, we should meet up for coffee sometime there." And then like they both walk towards their private jets and just goes, "This is ridiculous. Give me your Facebook. I'll just chat to you when I'm on the plane."
Oh my god.
You just both go on the private jets.
Wow.
And I mean, like, and I think that really does encapsulate the fact about how the people who pollute the most are just the worst of the worst, like the
Yeah.
upper echelon of,
Rich people.
rich people, yeah. The people who can afford to have their fucking, private jets and who can, continuously just be as wasteful as they possibly can be.
Yeah.
And then that thing comes down to, and obviously then like the production that then a lot of these people then are also at the helm of because they are capitalists.
Yeah.
Then that responsibility comes down to you of that then, oh, you're the one who then has the problem. And yeah, like you were saying, when it does become individualistic, yeah, it is bullshit.
I think there's also like, there was one kind of individualist slogan. I this was definitely a campaign in Ireland. I feel like it was happening in the UK as well. And this was like, I want to say late 90s. But the slogan was reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the US as well.
US as well. Okay. Someone pointed out it was amazing how quickly the reduce and reuse was removed from that prescription.
Yeah.
Recycle.
Recycle.
It's just recycle
That's
now.
all you
Keep doing
need.
everything that you were doing. Just recycle.
Just keep recycling.
Yeah.
Stop reusing things.
Even though, like, yeah, whatever. Never mind. I'm not going to
Yeah.
have a bit about recycling now. Captain Planet here, Dylan. So,
yeah.
I guess then, like, before we hop into the the good, let's go to the ugly. And Yulia definitely has taken a deep dive. She's not going to read the article, unfortunately, because
No.
it's all in German. But like, there
Yeah.
was a.
I
There's
can
an
confirm
article.
those are German words.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many more Zs than in regular English.
Yeah.
But
We can put it in the.
yeah, we can put it into the show
Yeah.
notes for people who can read German.
Okay.
Google
Yeah.
Translate.
Yeah,
So-
and I guess, but like one of the things that we were like talking about too is like who does then?
Who does all this? Like, who does Fridays for Future? Who
Yeah,
does
exactly.
the
Who can
climate strike?
participate?
Exactly. And I actually like came to. I mean, it is always like an important thing to do to kind of like look at movements and how they are like who is participating in these movements. And since I work at a school, and normally like the climate strike and Fridays for Futures is like made by school students. I mean, yeah, it is basically students not going to school on Fridays, and
They're actually doing the thing that they say that they do.
yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, but not everyone. Not everyone is included in this. And I work at a school that is kind of like in a rather tricky socioeconomic area of Berlin. And
Where Zido is from? Or no, wait.
no, he's not. He's not from.
He's from Märkisches Viertel.
Yeah, he's
Sorry,
not- yeah.
Then you're. This is where Christiane F is from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can Google.
Yeah.
No, don't use Google. Use that other thing.
Oh, you can use Google. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter.
What is it called?
There's a bunch of them.
Okay. Google's bad. Anyway, yeah. Because like I work at the school, and actually it wasn't a topic at the school. Actually, in the whole district of Neukölln, it wasn't such a big topic. Like they didn't forbid it, but they didn't allow it either. So it wasn't like they all go together to the climate strike. And in the area I work at, it's mostly that it's not actually like something you think about. Like the students don't. I wouldn't say that no one thinks about it, but it's actually like if you are busy with other stuff. Like you have, for example, you don't have the what. You don't have the privilege, kind of like to think about to not go to school or think about like future stuff, you know, like stuff that is happening in the future, because you think of stuff that is happening right now because it's actually like a lot of, I don't know, other uncertainties. Yeah, exactly. If it's financial or if it's like I don't know, like a kind of like discrimination you experience every fucking day, then you don't have the privilege or the time to actually like sit down and think about climate change. And it is because there's actually like numbers that like over 70% or just 70%, not over it, percent of Fridays for Future would claim themselves as being part of like the middle or even the upper class. So like leading positions are mostly people that go to like gymnasium or something like that.
Which is like the highest echelon of German
exactly.
schools.
And yeah, so people that actually have the time or like the background to lead, to have the resources. The resources are time or financial resources. Or like a leading position in the discourse already, because they are like in higher schools or something like that. So they have the time, they have probably the Unterricht.
Like classes.
Yeah, the classes that actually approach topics like this. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of like very reminiscent of the. Whenever I encounter people who like really harp about the whole becoming vegan thing to save the planet, because I don't know if anyone's tried to, like, I genuinely agree that we should probably move to like a vegan society, but if you try being vegan now, it will fucking bankrupt you. Like either
it's also like it's also not.
It's not the
good for the planet.
It's not the most climate friendly. Actually, when you want to have your fucking like soy burger or something like that, or you want like
just
your
look
super
at the supply
special
chain of how that is brought around the world.
Yeah, or you want your avocado every like avocado Tuesday. I don't know. Is that a thing?
Julia's making it. It's a thing. Avocado Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Hey kids, do you want to live in a meat-free diet or whatever the fuck it is? I don't know.
I'm already scheduling like 20 tweets from the show account of just pictures of avocados that will appear on the next 20 Tuesdays.
Yeah, actually, because of course, yeah, if you can go to like Vegans or something like that, also kind of critical of that store.
Veganism's really white too.
Yeah, it is, of course. And you go there and you buy your fancy vegan stuff that is also like €5 or something for a really small burger, or like maybe 2 small burgers if you're lucky. And then you go around and go to areas and say like, hey, why are you buying this Bärchenwurst or something that is just like 65 cents or something?
Yeah.
And not the super fancy vegan option.
It's also the like time consumption issue as well. Vegan meals are also very time intensive, and if you don't have free time to actually make it, then you'll probably die from a deficiency or something.
And I find it kind of like critical also when it comes to consumption, like people being critical of consumption, but from a very like privileged perspective, like saying,
it's like a great white hope sort of
oh, you shouldn't buy that much. Oh, minimalism, for example.
Great white hope.
Yeah, if you already like are lacking a lot of stuff, if you already have to live the risk of like material deprivation, is that the word? Yeah. And you kind of like, then sometimes the only thing that you can do, or the only thing that actually gives you the feeling of being part of society is actually like buying something, like, buying these shoes, buying a TV, saying like, we have a TV at home now, or I have a PlayStation or something like that. And then people coming in like saying like, actually, I live a minimalistic lifestyle. Like I don't even eat.
I'm a breatharian.
Yeah, but because you have the luxury of doing that, the privilege of saying like, oh yeah, I had all of this. Now I get rid of it.
Yeah. And the thing that then's always kind of behind all this too is like a very bizarre, like weird Orientalism. That then's always like, oh, look at these societies, how simple they live.
That's the example I just made with the Indonesian fisherman.
Just kind of tying back to that is like, do you not think that the person then who's being forced to live like a, whatever you want to call it, a minimalist or a lifestyle that then barely can like suffice their basic needs, who
exactly
would not want to then have more things that then like would make their life easier. It's just plainly like racist.
Exactly. If you live in a precarious situation, you don't think about like Fridays for future. Like you don't think about the future. I don't think that people that live in precarious situations don't think about the future. But most of the time there is a lot of struggle you already have on a daily basis that you have to think about. And it's like probably like struggling with your rent or like making money to buy food or something like that. You don't have the luxury to actually like sit down and think like, oh yeah, but there won't be a future and I want to change it for me and my children and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think that like that tying into the fact of then like why worker-based or class-based politics then is so important in that sense, and why then you can have an argument about climate change that then tackles both is because a class-based politic addresses exactly that. You can't pay your rent. You don't like you're in precarious job situations all the time. You're not stupid.
Of course not.
You're able to then be a functioning member of society and this and that and that and whatever it is. But there's this big boogeyman called capitalism that's making this extremely difficult because of the things that then it takes a priority. Like why someone like Bernie Sanders in the U.S. is so popular is because he's the only politician then who actually for the first time in like 100 years has actually developed a politic that then is genuinely behind that, who actually stands behind his shit, unlike the fucking Strasserite take that Trump had that was just complete bullshit because it was just right-wing populism, which always just is on the back of preserving capitalism.
I mean, we had this discussion also before when it came to like when we were talking about Ende Gelände, I think it was. Yeah. And like seeing the other side of the people that actually work in the like mines and stuff like that. That you have to consider that. It's not like these like that working people want to actually destroy the climate. They're not out there saying like, oh yeah, no shit, I really want to like fuck your climate strike or something like that. But it is
it's a
like
job.
It's a job that pays for fucking rent, and it's also like you have to consider that, because if you only see it from the perspective of your veganism, of your like minimalism or whatever you do, then that is just leading to more Teslas that nobody can afford.
And it'll end up in a fucking junkyard in some, third world country in 5 years anyway.
Yeah, there was like similar takes with the whole like...
you also can't get rid of the Tesla batteries. Fun fact. They're batteries.
The similar take with the whole like e-scooter thing when they came in.
Yeah.
They actually pollute more than cars do, which is like wild.
Don't they throw them away when they're like done?
They end up in the ocean.
This is the thing. Like, I mean, I would imagine this would be a good scheme if there was like one e-scooter thing that was municipally owned, and then like
nationalize
nationalize the e-scooter. Like, I want to use the e-scooter,
or even like the car service thing, like
like I want to use those things with my BVG like monthly card. Just like, give me the e-scooter.
Deutsche Bahn used to have that with bikes, and they still kind of do, but they're not. You don't find them nearly as often because now the private company has taken.
Yeah, and then I think the thing that I'm getting to is the fact that like with these companies in particular, with the bike, the moped, and the e-bike companies, what happens historically and traditionally with all these is there's like this mad scramble for all these cities they expand into to be like the dominant service, and all the others like fail. So there is basically a bunch of e-scooters, mopeds, e-bikes, or regular bikes that are just thrown into a ditch. Or if you're lucky and get told in advance, like last episode, you just get to keep one. Every bike, but not all of us are so privileged.
So we're seeing then how capitalism actually functions, which is a monopoly will automatically form as just the natural thing of, well, you're always told in economics classes that monopolies are an abnormality, that they're a market failure. However, how often, and especially in the sharing economy, the only natural point that you ever see of these is a monopoly. And what would make the only thing to then make sense of this is to then make these things that then monopolize immediately. I mean, how fast did Flixbus monopolize? In a year?
Yeah.
If even that, And the reason it came about is because the European Union was like, oh, we need to not have the state have a monopoly on transit. Oh, it's going to end up becoming a private monopoly. Oh, damn, how did we not see this coming? And the quality of your goods when they're done on a nationalized scale are significantly better, as we saw with air travel in the 1980s when that got completely just destroyed and privatized. Air travel is now the most uncomfortable thing in the world to fucking do, and it isn't just because 9/11 happened and you had to go through more security stuff.
Because you have to pay for extra shit.
You have to pay for every single extra thing. Your entire time in your seat is just being ads yelled at you. Yeah. In a disgusting
and now
color.
We're gonna sell this shit.
Yeah,
and now we're gonna sell
with
that.
The colors purposely made to make you uncomfortable. When
Ryanair did that, and then now they
have funky blue lights, don't they?
Yeah, they announced that they would change the interior of their planes because people were fucking distressed.
Also, Ryanair have decided that we are going to change some more things about the interior of our planes. No longer will we be playing on repeat. I'll Tell You What I Want by Spice Girls over and over again, and then increasing volumes until you land. We decided that was just bad customer practice. I'm sorry. From all of us here at Ryanair, go fuck yourself.
But the thing, whenever something has become commodified that then was previously a public resource has become more undesirable and more you just I hate flying, not because it makes I don't like flying. I hate flying because just the absolute terror of sitting in a Ryanair seat and being uncomfortable for 3 hours.
But it's also I think the big part of the experience of why air travel fucking is shit is not really so much what happens on the plane, but also the rigmarole of what you have to do before and after as well.
If you don't do this at this exact time, then you have to spend an extra €50 for an extra check-in fee that you didn't actually know about, but is in paragraph 7 of a 90 paragraph document that you probably should have read through, but it's also in a font that you can't read.
Wingdings.
Also,
it's actually in Cyrillic, but it's in English, so you have to know the Cyrillic alphabet.
Also, if you want to get hydrated, buy 10 euros water, and don't refill your bottle
because you may be a terrorist.
Exactly.
We believe in the marketplace, and if you don't like something, just go somewhere else on this plane.
Exactly.
Or even on airports. Airports are also just this every time there's shopping after security, it's just go fuck yourself. You have no other choice. Here's €7 coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it? Where are you getting €7 coffee from?
Something. I bought 2 coffees and a sandwich for me and my wife recently from Schönefeld. It was €16.
Ooh.
Wow. I hope it was worth it.
No, it was
probably
worst
garbage.
coffee I've ever had.
Yeah. But I guess that can kind of transition to the fact of what then is, I guess, from me nerding out over the there's been a lot of discussion of and I think a lot of tied in with a lot of the primitivism is this then idea that then we have to downgrade society. The problem is that we're just too fucking developed, and we need to really cut our consumption, which is in one part true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to transition to a green what I would hope would be a post-capitalist society.
That would be awesome.
But there's been this kind of idea then of degrowth floating around, which goes off of the metric of GDP, which is a bad metric.
Oh yeah, everyone hates GDP anyway. Not everyone
neoliberals
I do.
Love
I know.
And tankies love it too because they're neoliberals in disguise.
Yeah. Wait, they got tankies, but then
don't at us, please.
You know what? Sorry. Every tanky economic thing that they brag about is also the exact same things that neoliberals brag about.
Yeah. Look at the calorie consumption rate in the Soviet Union kind of thing as well, where it's that's pretty cool, but
or they just use GDP in production over China.
Yeah.
Which if that's sustainable, cool, but GDP is a stupid metric that just measures any money that then goes in and out, which you can like military spending goes into that.
The best metaphor I ever heard for like why GDP is like dumb as shit is if I went around to my street right now and broke all the like shop windows, and then they all had to hire someone to like repair the shop windows.
That gets
there's an increase in GDP, but nothing has actually been done.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like what you see of then like just any type of government spending can go into it.
Yeah.
So you could spend money on anything, literally anything. Like name the dumbest thing and just allocate like let's say $100 million to it. That'll get put into GDP.
It's interesting because there's actually with the GDP in Latvia, here we go.
Latvia hours.
Yeah, a lot of it came from, well, first of all, a lot of it came from financial, spending, private Keynesianism and shit like that. So like people just buying shit from getting credits. That was before the financial crisis. But also a lot of it.
I wonder if they're intertwined.
Not at all. But actually, there's also because we're talking about climate and climate change and climate strike. Okay, anyway, climate. Yeah, so Latvia has a lot of woods, forests. They're basically just forests. But a lot of the money like that adds to the GDP is actually the deforestation. Is that the word? Yeah, in Latvia. So like a lot of the woods that are actually like Urwälder, so like the German. Not German. Oh shit! The Latvian, the European.
Yulia slipped. She's just reminding herself about how great East Prussia was.
So the European version of what's it called? Urwälder. So like
they're just old forests.
Old forests, yeah, but like the Amazon and shit.
Yeah. They're big old forests.
But not as pretty, more like with a lot of pine trees.
Is it
and birch
the
trees.
same one as that like Poland has? Poland has
Exactly.
like a primordial forest.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Old forest.
Old forest.
Super
old
old forest. Yeah, but a lot of that.
What's the biggest number you can count to? Older than that.
But a lot of the like
You'll die before you count all the rings in this deforested forest. We shouldn't have cut it all down for this counting purposes.
Yeah, but a lot of the wood production in Latvia is like by deforestation, and that adds a lot to the GDP as well. But it's not good for the environment either.
Not good for the economy really either. What do they do with it? I mean, like
that's one of the biggest export goods of
yeah,
Latvia.
it is. But then also Latvia makes like most of their money through like weird financial schemes that then just like
That's
disappear whenever there's an economic crisis.
Yeah.
They don't have their own industry that
What
can
happened?
support their own country.
Don't know. We built our whole fucking economy on financial FDIs, but
Hang on. As the Irish person in the room, I say over-financializing your entire economy is great. Nothing terrible could ever happen. It'll be fine.
Oh God!
super safe, super stable.
Speaking of that, I got a and like you know where people like write you on LinkedIn of like, hey, like there's a job opportunity, this and that. It was just like one was just very much a complete scam. It was like, would you want to move to Dublin and make like €50,000 a year with this new business thing? And I wrote the guy back like, I do not want to move to a city that's gonna be decimated in 5 years. This is very clearly a scam. Please do not message me back.
I get those, but the thing is, recruiters have this like, they have like two spreadsheets, which is like, you live currently in Ireland and you don't currently live in Ireland. There is no like, you are from Ireland but you don't live there anymore spreadsheet. So I just keep getting these like job offers being like, do you want to earn 50k in Dublin? I know you've never considered living in Dublin. It's a great place where people hold open the door of the bus for you. It's like, no, it's an automatic door on the bus. It doesn't work.
And they're always Americans too. Like they're always American companies that just like magically appeared in Dublin like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Neoliberalism is a wild thing. You guys like Harry Potter? You guys are gonna fucking love neoliberalism.
What's that? You want to start a manufacturing business in Ireland? You fucking little fucking idiot! You little piss pig! You bitch! Why the fuck would you have such an idea? You can't make shit. Get in line. Go back to your spreadsheet factory job. You fucking bitch!
Yeah, see?
And that's how you. That's Enterprise Ireland.
But But yeah, so kind of like with the discussion of then with like going back to the me getting a nerd out for 5 minutes about this, maybe not that long, just kidding.
Oh shit!
But we talked about this like briefly too with the Green New Deal episode, and go back and listen to that. One of my personal favorites. I learned a lot, and it really is kind of like not too nerdy. I think it was like pretty easy to understand like the talking points about this, and you don't have to know anything about economics beforehand. But the discussion that then's always kind of brought up from people who don't really want that aspect of it, which they're wrong, is that then the idea then of our society has to then start what did I say, downgrading or like
degrowth,
degrowth and stuff like that. And the idea is really appealing because people, I think, when they think of like environmental stuff, automatically as Westerners have this like this primitivist, very like kind of racist worldview of them that then like. It's
funny. It's always this take like, oh yeah, we industrialized, but you can't do that.
Exactly.
You're late to the party. Kind of like, I like that because she used it in like her article, and we're gonna like put the article in the
and
links.
To be fair, like the thing that I understand with tankies when they talk about then China doing these programs, given the way that China's doing them aren't bad. However, the industrialization that then is happening then in these countries, whether or not the countries are allowed to keep them, I do not know the general like things about every I mean like what China's doing in Africa and whatnot, but the push of trying to industrialize Africa by then putting in like actual infrastructure there is something that the West never actually did, and that is actually like again, the method isn't the best in my opinion because it is through like a lot of like economic what are they called?
Special economic zones.
Special economic zones.
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, like there is an appeal then from African countries towards China because they are allowing them to industrialize. They are allowing them to then, in most cases, keep most of the capital that they make. This is why also during the financial crisis in Greece, why Chinese investment was actually seen to be better than that of European investment because a lot of it was supposed to then be done in actual like industrialized projects for Greece that Greece never even had in the 1950s. So I get that. You also, but like in the sense of like kind of back to this exactly what you're saying, this worldview of that like industrialization still has to happen regardless then of wherever the country is. That type of industrialization doesn't need to be, I think, for a lot like how like we talk about that in socialism, like a country skipping steps.
Yeah, we don't have to do like
Stalin. It doesn't need to be, like you can see China investing a lot of money.
Yeah, like 50 years. Come on, we do it 5.
Yeah, cool.
Give me 5.
But
communism right away. Skip all
the steps.
Let's do it now.
Yeah. But I do think that then in the sense of like the step skipping that then socialist view of like of how to get to a socialist society, but you can do that with introduction of technologies, and you see that with mobile lines in like on the continent of Africa. There are not like power lines like we see.
There's a lot of Africa leapfrogged telephone wires.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, because they immediately kind of like switched to mobile, satellite, 3G, whatever technology, which like the phone service in Africa isn't necessarily the best, but it's still beaming a satellite.
The phone service in Germany is also atrocious.
But like beaming a satellite at like parts of Africa was cheaper than building in this infrastructure that, like, if we had a magical time machine, like a lot of European countries would prefer skipping. Yeah, like there is some stuff to be said there for sure. Although things like Goldman Sachs are like really proud of things like that for some reason, but like I think they use it as a means of like justifying not investing infrastructure in Africa. Like, if we invested like telecommunications infrastructure in Africa like 20 years ago, we would have had egg in our face now. And I'm like, It's like, what's going to be
a smart move by just completely ignoring that?
Yeah, and who knows what the future of roads will be? What if we could like send roads to Africa via satellite?
Just everyone's gonna teleport.
Everywhere.
Nice.
But and I think like
a series of grappling hooks that come down from the satellite,
lift you up, and throw you across wherever you have to go.
Kind of like a mom cat does to its kittens.
But yeah, so in our Eurocentric, horrible Western view. The steps of then going from, where we are now with going into a green economy doesn't need to be the one that then is a downgrading of that of the economy, because you have to create jobs, you have to create services, you have to create, infrastructure, you have to do all this stuff. And that's why, in my opinion, Green New Deal is so good, because it doesn't view it from this defeatist perspective, and it views it very much in the sense that then there is, you don't even have to look at it in the sense of there's an economic win to be made, but it's genuinely in the sense of that then there is, something that then can be positively said to a degree about then growth. It doesn't need to be economic growth or GDP growth, but just a growth of a society that then is not really measured all that well in economics. And there are metrics of measuring it that are just not used, but general well-being does take, in my opinion, at least under the prognosis from Green New Deal for Europe and whatever then I guess the European Commission is attempting to take of that. They said that it is possible, which, fun fact, the German Greens said that it is not possible because they suck. Yep. And they're the only party that said that they would not support it, which is very weird.
Mm-hmm. Do I have the exact quote?
You sent it in the show notes.
It was Sven Giegold of the German Greens, Giegold from the original Irish of vagina gold.
Wait, what?
The Irish slang term for vagina is gie. In response to Yanis Varoufakis' DiEM25's presentation of the Green Investment Plan, which was the old term for Green New Deal, of €500 billion annually funded by the European Investment Bank bonds.
We talked about all this on that episode, which we will link in the description. Go back, it's a good one.
Yanis was appalled to hear him retort that there were not enough green projects to fund with such money. He offered as proof for this the neoliberal creed that if there was such a need, the market would have provided investments. It's a tragically depressing limit of imagination of there's no green projects right now, and I can't possibly fathom. Board train. I can't.
And to be fair, a lot of public services are not profitable. No. They are not. They just simply are. This is why then it's so. But then at the same time, just because something's not profitable doesn't mean that then it's not have a social value. Parks, you don't make no one makes any money with having a park exist.
Only if you privatize it.
But some places do privatize parks. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it is.
But the idea then is that regardless of, there may not be a metric of measuring the usefulness of a park in terms of, GDP. There is a measure in the sense of what
social
it means.
Social impact, for example. Yeah. Health impact. I mean, I like having a park in a...
Yeah. And a transition into green technologies would give, there's not just going to be parks popping up left and right, but...
Why not?
But, in the sense of health, of just general well-being. Agriculture is a big one that then is addressed to in the Green New Deal to a degree.
Agriculture isn't profitable either.
No, it isn't. Europe just throws their food.
That's why we have subsidies.
Europe just throws money at then places to overproduce, and then the US is the same thing, or they just tell you not to produce.
Yeah, and actually, countries that are relying on agriculture that have a big a lot of their GDP is made of agricultural stuff.
Food stuff.
Farming.
We can't legally call it food. It's food stuff.
Yulia's just sitting in the corner right now playing Farming Simulator.
Yeah, exactly. Food stuff.
But it's
very German.
You're playing a farming simulator, but it's like that 1980s film War Game, and you're actually controlling a farm in the south of Italy. Oh no, there's a shortage of Parmesan again. God damn it.
Well, I don't have to worry at all because I get subsidized.
Yeah, true.
If I'm a German farmer.
We found it was a lot more. We found out it was a lot more efficient to just give instead of getting billions of dollars to these old farmers in France making very particular types of cheeses that Europeans won't eat unless they're from the proper region. We decided to give $500 million to just Yulia to play Farming Simulator.
Yes, please.
She live streams it on Twitch. Everyone just feels full from watching it.
Yulia's yields are fucking insane.
Tight, yeah. There is actually one of my favorite videos on YouTube. It's so old, but it's Skrillex's Bangarang set to footage of Tractor Simulator 2016. So good.
That sounds good.
That's great.
So actually, yeah, we should also talk about like the positive side of the climate strike.
Yeah, climate strike is good. Like, don't get us wrong. We are, sour leftists who like to critique everything.
Oh,
we're very much old man shoots at cloud.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
But actually, since I criticized
Wait, instead of your top 8, it's all your friends who are allowed in your tank with you.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming is like a top 3. Things are small.
Oh, it's like MySpace,
Yo, I make room for all my homies in my tank. Okay?
Wow. Well, yeah, but actually,
double-decker tank.
Since I've criticized the like it being kind of like a privileged movement, there's actually lately a lot of like also leftist or more further left groups joining it or popping up in this whole movement. Something that is really focusing, like some groups really focusing on anti-capitalism and actually starting to say, okay, this is not a problem of like just we're not green enough, but this is a problem of like a systematic problem of capitalism. So
and to be fair, we did not have this 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even like the anti-globalization movement didn't even really fully have this. And this kind of, I'm not saying that it's like entirely the same as like the climate thing, but there was a climate element to it. But a lot of it then just kind of got taken over by a very racist rhetoric that then wasn't because a lot of it was like about indigenous rights and about what's it called, my brain just
stopped.
Just stopped. But yeah, like there were like it was a multifaceted thing. However, I think because of the time frame that it came at in like the mid 90s, saying that capitalism is bad was kind of like, oh, what are you talking about?
Look at Eastern Europe. Look how they're thriving.
They're thriving. They have all this money that they just don't know what to do with. Literally, the countries just don't know what to do with this finance capital. It'll stay there forever, right?
Yeah, and actually, like you also have like now an anti-racist dimension in the climate strike. So it's not limited to only like the stuff that the Green Party says, or just like one or like privileged young people saying like, oh yeah, but I want to have a future. But it's also actually taking like on other struggles and including it like the kind of like the racist dimension of climate, for example. Yeah.
To be fair, though, this is all fine and dandy. I'm just going to say one last thing. Extinction Rebellion, stop being so racist.
Yeah.
They have a big problem with that. Did you see the last thing where they were like writing letters to the police?
Wait, what?
They were writing nice letters to the police. Nice letters.
Because they're always so friendly when they get arrested.
All cops are beautiful.
Yep.
That's what that means. Yeah. No, but like just a short shout out because Karin, who was on our episode a few weeks ago, she sent an article in a very similar regard to the supernova German article. Was about how it's called "Stop Asking People of Color to Get Arrested to Protest Climate Change," and really, it's weirdly enough from Vice. But from the good people at Vice, the maybe like 2 or 3 good people who work for them, and really kind of like tackling the sense about how Extinction Rebellion has this internal problem with it, and how there is like Julia just got done saying, there is an element to this that then is inclusive and that is anti-racist and that is for indigenous rights and they're all this. But we have to always remember too that then these spaces that then we see in Europe a lot of the time that then are getting a lot of publicity tend to overwhelmingly be very white neo-colonial factors of how they expand. I mean, for fuck's sake, Extinction Rebellion had a protest where they had people in nooses. And some of the people in the nooses were people of color. Like, that just doesn't look good. What is it? A noose is what you hang someone with.
A hangman's noose, like the particular tying of a rope that goes on when you hang someone.
So like a...
Ein Noosen.
Kieran, good try. You may have been right.
Yeah, right. That's my.
So like a schlinger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So they did a protest like that, and they had people in the nooses.
Oh no.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Yeah, standing on ice blocks.
Yeah.
That was the.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there are, but that's the thing too, is that Extinction Rebellion isn't the only one. Like, they are not the only climate movement. There are, like Yulia just said, there are good people out there.
And to be fair to Extinction Rebellion, they are mobilizing people. This is not like a problem you couldn't fix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you could be good.
They're British. Come on, anything the British do just can't not be
There's
racist.
some self-criticism.
Sure, we were
become Maoists.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you become Maoist.
Everybody,
I will
like,
stand behind Maoist Extinction Rebellion.
Me too.
I have my criticisms of the Maoist movement, but everyone in the UK has to become Maoist. Just because of your colonial past, it's like the only way out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus
Look at
Christ.
you, the Communist Party of Great Britain. You fucking dumpster fire of a party.
Oh God, but in general, the whole degrowth thing needs to go away, because at the same time, it's also just
It's
like
defeatist.
it is defeatist. It's also feeding into like the new thing, the new buzzword amongst left circles that is like a real thing, the eco-fascist stuff, because.
Sorry.
Spoiler alert, Julia's going to have a whole episode about that.
Nice.
Yep.
I won't go too much into it, but I feel like that's like the logical step of that attitude. Things have to get worse. Yeah. It's because the part of the whole like we have to reduce our consumption aspect of it and things have to get worse is like it is blaming ourselves for something that we like I mean ourselves like every person in something that we had absolutely no fucking control over.
Exactly. And I wonder if it like actually does change anything if you have like, if you just awoke like some feeling of shame, like, you know, in people, especially in people that probably like don't have the time to, I don't know, to be arrogant about it, you know, like living in, and you go and shame them. And then you just evoke a feeling of shame, like for taking a plane to go maybe for your like only vacation in this year or something. And instead of like actually making like an ethical reflection possible, or like actually like talking about it, you just make people feel like shit.
Yeah.
There's like it's so like you can see how that is like, for lack of a better term, blackpilling people. Because it's almost the exact same thing of like the liberal treatment of racism, where there was like for a while there was absolutely no understanding of like how racism might be systematic. It's all about like these individual actions that you as a person do, which is a part of it, don't get me wrong, but like blaming everyone, being like, this is all on your shoulders. The reason black people are oppressed is because you, Johnny Utah, did something.
Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah. This is what I think Americans are called.
I just remember the what's it called? The anchor from the Fairly Odd Parents, whose name was Chet You Betcha.
Chet You Betcha, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, your first name has to be Johnny or Chad or Tag, and then a state you don't live
Kyle.
in.
Kyle, Virginia. Duke Nukem.
Tag, Wyoming. There's definitely a person called Tag, Wyoming.
I'm pretty sure.
But anyway, yeah, like the whole thing of just like blaming individuals and not really offering anything substantial as an alternative is not going to work. I don't think you can. Even if you had all the best statistics in the world, I don't think air travel is a really good statistic, because like I said, 2% of total air emissions, that's all air traffic in the world. Like that's even if it was like 99%, I think if you just shamed people who did it, but not offer like an alternative route, because I've looked into the tech, apparently we are very far away from electric planes as being like a viable option. But
I see that weird Dubai thing that's like a helicopter with like a 900 fucking things on it, blades on it.
Is that a part of the robot Jurassic Park that MBM is building?
Oh wow.
Possibly.
MBS.
Yeah, fucking stupid. That but just on one more note, I saw like maybe Twitter's listening to me, or they just know that I really like Yanis Varoufakis. But it was like, you missed this. And just another thing to kind of keep on your mind always is that 71% of CO2 emissions are produced by 100 companies worldwide.
Exactly. I was about to say like who to blame.
That's the other thing as well. I think that is the part of the liberal blaming of the individual is because there is that side of it's blaming the individual, but there's also the side that it's the bad guy from The Incredibles. If everyone has superpower, if everyone is special, no one is special, kind of thing. Then it kind of also at the same time removes blame. If you blame individuals, it's kind of like, where do we direct any of this energy?
Yeah.
And I think on that Incredibles note,
yes,
that'll be a good place to leave you guys with this week.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pleasant time, venting about my problems of the environmentalist movement. I've been meaning to do this for a while, so yeah. We will catch you guys next week then. Little tidbit out there for everyone. We don't have anything really to shout out this week except for bring our Rob back safe.
Yay.
And Yulia and I, in the next coming weeks or so, are going to try to do a German version of the show. For very short, very concise, maybe like 20, 30-minute episodes. They will be posted along on the same feed, so if you subscribe already to our podcast, you will get them. But we want to try this out, and obviously you'll see when it comes up because the title will be in German. It'll probably have a different show name as well. Yeah. But just be on the lookout for that.
Finally, I can speak in my mother tongue.
Yeah, Julia can finally not I can be the one then who's
not going to sit here and saying agricultural food stuff.
Yeah, that'll be me, but in German words, and then probably are like 30 characters long.
Well, we should warn you in advance that when Julia speaks German, she does sound like Gilbert Gottfried, so watch out for that.
Die AfD, the große Problem in Deutschland. Oh, damn it, Gilbert Gottfried's just Hitler. Yeah, see you guys next week.
Yep.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Syndrome was right.